This is Firecrackers, and we are just about to get started. And the topic we are looking at today is the right way to go about secession. In the history of mankind, we've always had people separating one disgruntled person in a kingdom, wanting to form their own kingdom, one person not pleased with how things are going and feel that they have to do it better, or when a particular group of people feel like they are not well catered for, they want to drift. This has always been happening. This is always common with human. But now in this modern day, we would expect that even if this were to be done, we operate democracy in Nigeria, we should look at the right way to do this. So let me start with my guest here in the studio. How did you take that news that Oyo State was stormed by agitators who want to declare Yoruba Nation?
Yes, you know, this Yoruba Nation agitation has been on for some time on the social media. We have seen the flags, we've seen the logo, the insignia, even on the social media. But some element pushing that are not even based in Nigeria. So, but there was a legal and procedural way of wanting to opt out of a system. But it's not definitely by taking up arms. There are process, there are procedure, and I think it has to go into referendum, you have to be vote and say, okay, some people want to, leave, they don't want to belong to this organization again or whatever, or nation again. So, but I think what is wrong with this process is just taking up arms by 29 people. Do you have the consent of majority of the Yoruba people that you say you represent? Are they aware of what you are doing or what you are doing on their behalf? Taking up arms and going to the Secretariat of the Government of Oyo State is definitely not the process. It's not the way to go about declaring a Yoruba nation. More so when we have a Yoruba man as the president of Nigeria today. So definitely they are out of tune with other Nigerians of what they are doing. And I'm sure they are on their own. I'm sure they are misguided. I'm sure they are being sponsored and they don't know the implication of what they are doing. If they know the implication of what they are getting into, I'm sure they will venture out of it.
Okay, let us look at the history of Nigeria. The call for secession, for division. This is not the first time we are having a call like this. If we are to go back in time in the 1960s, when the Biafra one was really eating hard, if we were to say that we should draw some lessons from that time to the present, what would you say that we should have learned from then, that even if we want to go about this process, we're supposed to do it differently?
Yeah, if you go back to this, I know there was a time Cameroon, a part of Cameroon belonged to Nigeria, and we know that Nigeria and Cameroon, and even a political party, and Cameroon decided, a part of Cameroon that belonged to Nigeria decided to go the way of Cameroon. And so, if we go back in research, we will be able to know how were they able to achieve that. And we, like the Biafran nation that you referenced, when they wanted to opt out of Nigeria, they thought they can do it by force of arm. And we know that that went on into a civil war for about 30 months, and at the end of the day, they were not allowed. So, there's a process and a procedure. It's a constitutional means. You have to get your people in the National Assembly, wherever, maybe those who represent Yoruba Southwest. They have to be a process of referendum. You have to be subject to voting. And when you get the majority of the voters of this particular place, and they have indicated that they don't want to belong to Nigeria again, they want to form their own nation. And I think the United Nations also have a role to play in it. Remember that we're a member of United Nations. So United Nations, and I know that in this process, I've had it also on social media, that United Nations have been approached, that some letters have been written, okay, to know that the Yoruba nation want to come out or want to have a true federalism. That process, I've been watching it, I've been following it on social media. So how did it now get into taking up arms and storming a secretary of a government, a sub-government, a sub-national? I don't know how that comes into play, and what role they think that one will play, or they want to quickly accomplish it, and definitely not the way they have gone about it, not with 29 men. And I think people are just thinking, oh, no, but if you rate that level of force, I mean, they will be put down in seconds. Okay, even the ordinary police in the, division of a police will just take them out, not to talk of the military. So the threat level is very low, and it's the way they have gone about it show that they've not, a lot of work has not gone into what they want to do. Maybe some sponsors somewhere have to show that this is what we are going to do, or this we are able to do. or to justify, because the arms, the uniform, the ammunition is coming from somewhere for some sponsorship. And they now to show that, okay, for what you are giving to us, the support that we are giving to us, this is what we have done with it.
All right, thank you very much for that. This is Firecrackers, and we're talking about the right and legal way to go about secession in any country. Let us look at one of the ones that is so popular, like we've mentioned the one of Biafra, yes. That even up to now we still have people of IPOB. Let us look at how that has even affected the southeastern economy when it comes to their security and way of life. Thankfully, the new governors that were elected tried to stop this issue of the sit-at-home order. But let us look at how that also has disrupted their economy and the risk we might run into in Southwest if you are trying to pursue that same road, if you are not going about it the right way. Yeah,
I'm sure these Yoruba Nation agitators don't have the support or the binding of a lot of Yoruba people, because a lot of Yoruba people of the Southwest are very intelligent people. They are well-educated people, well-enlightened people, and they know that the process of having to take Yoruba Nation out of Nigeria is a constitutional means that you have to use. And this Yoruba Nation is being headed by an elderly person, Professor Banji Akintoye, who was once a senator, who was an emeritus professor of history, and having teaching times in the United States of America and all of that. So well-enlightened people, well-educated people, well-traveled people. So definitely it's not like even the IPOB. We know that it's not having the binding of a lot of Igbos who are in Lagos, who are all over the country doing their legitimate business. And even the federal government had described them as a terrorist organization. And it's an outlaw. So for you to belong to IPOB, you are seen as a terrorist in Nigeria today, and you can be arrested, you can be prosecuted and sent to jail. So a lot of this. So because if you want to do anything secession, you have to go about it the constitutional way. It has nothing to do with arm bearing or violent process of want to. Because normally you have to have there has to be true referendum. You have to have a voting system of people who want to say, okay, yes, we truly don't want to belong here. We want to, move out of here. So if that agreement is there, and I think there's a section of our constitution, I'm not a lawyer, that agrees with that, and the process has already been laid down how to navigate it. If you don't follow that process, then, of course, it will be termed illegal, and other laws of the country will be applied. Okay.
Let us first of all look at what might be prompting the call for this secession. For the southeastern part of the country, allegedly, it is said that they do not feel included in Nigeria because apart from Nnamdi Azikiwe, since then, we've not really had southeastern representatives. Like, let's say for president, we've not really had a southeastern president. Some said this because of that they're being relegated, they're being marginalized, and that might be the reason for this. And if you have to look at economic prosperity too of the land, some people have said that development often goes to the northern part of Nigeria, and it does not, like it's the residual that flows to the southwest, south-south, and southeastern part of Nigeria. But do you feel like all this in itself alone is enough for people to call for secession, or instead we should perhaps take a review of our constitution and see how we operate federalism?
Well, I think when you talk of marginalization, there's no part of this country that won't have one. Even in the north, you will still have the northeast saying that we have not been given opportunity to be president maybe after Tafawa Balewa, okay, who is from the northeast. So you come to the north central, they will tell you they're also marginalized. They're the southeast, then even the southwest. Okay, so this cause of Nigeria, but that will not be a sufficient ground to want to take up arms to say we want to leave Nigeria. No, that's not. The process of being a president, being elected politically, is a political engagement. How were you able to negotiate your way, okay, politically? Because we know that you have to get in there by political means. Whether the PDP or the APC, two prominent political parties that we have, they are the ones that will field candidate, and they are the ones that we choose. So it's not for the generality of, oh, I'm from the southeast, I have to be president. You have to belong to that political party. You have to be sponsored. And we saw that even in 2019, Atiku and Peter Obi, they were they were on the same ticket for president and the vice president. And now, this year, Obi also campaigned to be president from the Southeast on a political party. And there was an impressive turnout. It's just that it's not enough for them to win. So nobody is being denied, because you can come through a political negotiation and engagement and to ascend to be the president of Nigeria. So, but that will not answer to taking up arms or trying to do it by violence means. Yes, since cries of marginalization from Southeast, from South, from the Northeast, from North Central, but that has to be through political engagement and strategy for you to be able to say, okay, through my where I come from, the region, I've been able to act to be president of Nigeria. Okay,
and looking at the current economic situation we find ourselves in Nigeria, people are hungry, people want change, they want, should I say, a magical fix. They want to see something drastic happening that would bring back this sense of normalcy, to make it seem as if everything is going as smoothly as it should be. But do you think that perhaps this economic turmoil that we found ourselves in, where the president has assured us that this is just the building of part, we are on the path to repair, probably this is the reason things are so difficult right now. So do you think that this might also be one of the things that is spurring these people into action?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think, because if you reference IPOB, they've been on this agitation for a while, okay? So, and they've gone into a lot of things that are doing in the Southeast by cutting every Monday, no work, no whatever. And if you now say because of hardship, this hardship is not about Nigeria alone, okay? Every part of the world is now affected one way or the other since post-COVID era. A lot of countries are just trying to come together, and even in the West, even where a lot of Nigerians go to, they will reference that there are challenges there too. So the challenges, the economy is not just about our country alone. But we have, if we have a president, we have the leadership, political leader that can muster the political will, we'll see that we'll get out of. And that's the promise that we have from the political leaders that we have now. And we have seen that a lot of work is being done in the foreign exchange aspect of the challenges that we have. And so we continue to have hope. We continue to trust that maybe with our prayers, maybe with our support, then that we can come out of this political. I bet political action is not about Nigeria alone. You can reference other countries at this time, whatever part of the world that political economic challenges are all over the place, not just peculiar to Nigeria. But that should not give anyone leverage to take up arms against the state, because definitely that will be termed as insurrectional terrorism and all, and the full loss will be applied.
Okay, and if you are to look at one of the things that is often responsible for this, if we look from Boko Haram terrorists, bandits, and even, yes, or some of these issues that we're having in southwestern and southeastern Nigeria, it always starts from misinformation. Someone who is probably deliberately twisting information or intentionally inciting people to their own advantage. What role do you think government too can play in trying to make sure that the information getting to citizens is the one that is correct, and that they are also trying their best to reduce these people that are fond of inciting people for their own advantage?
That's why that's the work of the law enforcement agencies through their intelligence departments. They have to get to the root of all of this. For example, how did it get close to that secretariat? Where are the arms and the ammunition coming from? So this will be done through their investigation, and so they can trace how this movement has been, where is the ammunition, where are the sponsors. Because the people that you see being paraded, they are not the sponsors. They were just people that can be put together, indoctrinated, and used. The people that are behind this, you'll be surprised that they are not even in Nigeria. Yes, and they have sponsors, those who have put out money to purchase this item and to maybe promise them some reward system. But if you are able to do this, we are going to do this for you, we are going to do this for you, this is going to be your position. So a lot will come out, I'm sure, during investigation. And then we'll be able to know how do we put this, how do we curb this before it becomes what it became.
Yes, and is it not strange that most times when this agitation is starting, the leaders, most of the times, are always outside the country, They are not inside the country, and most likely, even if war would break out, they will still be in the comfort and safety and under the protection of another country, rather than the one that they have incited and they've put so many people to sin against each other, so to speak. So what advice would you give people who might, you know, a lot of people want action, a lot of people want to be part of change, to be part of something great. I feel like it's part of this instinctive thing that all humans have. They want to be part of something, they want to belong to an organization. So what advice would you give to Nigerians at this point in time, that despite the fact that we need action, we should go about it the right way?
Well, the National Regulatory Agency, for example, we have to come in terms of advocacy to let the people know that don't be used to do this, don't be used to do that. Maybe parents talk to their children, husband talking to their wife talking to their husbands, because in all the agitation that we have seen, the one you referenced about Biafra, you know that the leader of that movement then eventually left the country safely and have to return even to contest election in the federation that he wanted to take his people out of it. And you know how many people were lost, how many souls were lost. So, and even the IPOB that we referenced, you remember at the point the leader of the IPOB was having to be arrested outside the country and brought back for prosecution. So you will always see that those who are at the forefront of this agitation or sponsors of this agitation, they will have gotten themselves, their family out of the country, because they know the consequences of the action. They know they'll be punished for bad behavior. So they will not be around. And because they will always have people that they can manipulate, people that they can use, people that misguide element that they can use and promise this and that. Even the lead speakers of IPOB, as we speak now, who on social media very loud, is not in Nigeria. And Nigeria, as a government, has been trying to bring out, talk to other country and say, "Do this person is causing," and other countries have their own laws. And there's a level at which we cannot coerce them to do what we want them to do. But it is for us to know this is our country. We have to protect our own country because it's our country. And the law of enforcement says the government exists for a purpose. And the government of Nigeria will not allow certain individuals to do what will put other people's life at risk.
Yes, and I feel like they should probably have learned from the faith of other people that have also planned this. We have issue of, okay, I do not want to mention names, but some of them got released recently, and another one is still trying so hard to fight for his freedom in prison. Yeah. And these court cases have been going on and on and on again. So I really wish that Nigerians too would probably have a rethink and go through the right direction whenever they are trying to go for things like this.